Hello and welcome to the Sports Talk Line Network, where we talk sports 24/7, 365. This is, kind of a roundtable version of the Unnamed Sports Show because we got some big news tonight. The Los Angeles Lakers are NBA champions. LeBron James and the Lakers, Anthony Davis, they won it all. We got a great cast of guests for you today that's going to join me. We're going to talk NBA. So before we get into more things, I'm going to spread it around the room and let you know who everybody is. So right now we got Steven Vanover. So thanks for joining me, Steven. We got Tom McAllister. You can find him at defense_com. We'll get to all that stuff later. Tom, thank you. We got no remorse, Nate Dowdy. Thanks for joining me, Nate. And so before we get into talking NBA, which I know everybody wants to do, and we want to talk it with you. That's the great thing about the Sports Talk Line Network and these all of our shows that we do live. So we want you to interact with us. We want you to talk in the comments on Twitter, on YouTube. We want to know where you want to go with the show, where what you want to talk about. You want to talk about, was AD not given a good, showing with giving the NBA MVP? We can talk about everything. So make sure to like and subscribe down at the bottom if you don't already, and then hit that big blue join button. You're going to see it right there. That's going to give you lots of extra perks. That's going to get you in with us in the green rooms, in some of our, production meetings, in Discord chats, and a lot of extra videos and really cool things like that. So, guys, we got a couple LA people here. I know Steven, if you can see his background, which is fantastic. LeBron James and the GOAT. Steven Vanover, thank you for joining us. LA Lakers, the NBA champs.
I'm here in Long Beach. I don't know if you can hear it or not. There's fireworks going on all around us. And no, Nate, Tom, it's not gunshots. These are fireworks because I can see them go off high in the air, okay? It's fantastic. It's unreal, the energy, the Lakers championship, LeBron James. Where does he fit in the legacy now? Where is he in the GOAT conversation? Come on, man. Come on. Let's talk. This is the Lakers, the best team in the NBA, and they just brought it home.
Well, I can kind of feel the excitement. I can't hear the fireworks or anything for the background, but I can kind of feel the excitement from your end there in LA. Nate, I know you're down in LA too as well. What part are you in? Are you feeling a vibe? Is there anything going on there? Are you even a Lakers fan?
No, it's the American Taliban. That's what's going on. You see, shooting AK-47s in the air. No, that's not what's happening. It's not fireworks. It is a terrorist attack of epic proportions right now. And let me tell you something. The Los Angeles Lakers franchise does not deserve a championship. They don't. I'm sorry. You talk about LeBron James, who is the ultimate front runner of the league at this point in time. And if you could name me one player the Lakers have actually developed that's on this current franchise that has participated in this trophy, name them.
Kuzma?
Name a good player. Seriously, you can't name a single good Lakers player who's developed from that franchise since Kobe.
Kyle Kuzma?
Kyle Snoozma?
LeBron James, that's who. His game has got so much better since he got here. It's so much better. He's not having to do it all himself. He's learned to pass the ball around. He's learned to motivate his teammates. Tom, what do you think?
Now, let me ask you this question because I see you have a photo of LeBron James with Michael Jordan. But my question relates to that. Yeah, seriously. If you shoot at the king, don't miss. Because one, Michael Jordan didn't need to leave Chicago. He didn't have to go around and be like, what all-stars I got to play. He made his people better, okay? Here's the thing. This series would have been over in 4 games if Jordan was playing in his prime, okay? But here's my question I'm going to ask. How much longer can LeBron James do this? He's in his mid-30s. You got to wonder when the skill decline's coming. Anthony Davis, he got the ring. He wants to get paid now. Do you really still see him staking around LA? I see him going somewhere else. Just like Kevin Durant did with Golden State. He got paid. Let me go somewhere else. So how much longer do you see LeBron James still playing the game of basketball? Josh, what do you think?
As long as he wants. He's, he's got his production company set in LA. He's pretty much set in LA doing what he wants. He's making players around him better. AD hasn't done anything right before him. So how can you not say that, like, unlike, Michael Jordan, that he hasn't made players better around him? He made the Lakers team around him better this year, and they won an NBA championship. I'm literally watching the media, actually, as Eric Spoelstra's crying, which is unfortunate, but we can maybe get into Eric Spoelstra later. I don't think we were going to have like the GOAT conversation, like right off the bat. I thought we were going to actually maybe chat about the game and the series a bit first.
Well, sorry, I was provoked.
Yeah.
But about this series though, do you think Danny Green can take himself out of witness protection? Because I think there were reports he was actually getting death threats for missing the shot in Game 5, which is kind of something.
I cannot say that, like,
the critique on LeBron is he has an opportunity to take the game-winning shot, he passes it off, and that player misses. While when other people did it, like Michael Jordan would do it, Steve Kerr would hit the shot, John Paxson would hit the shot, but LeBron always, when he defer, it wouldn't work out for him.
He made the right decision there. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people wanted to see him take the shot, but it's not like LeBron's an automatic three-point shooter. If you were to game plan, if you were to strategize a game plan against LeBron James, you want him shooting from the outside every single time. When he gets inside the paint is where he's dangerous.
It's where he's almost automatic. Okay, now he can hit from the outside, but that's the exception, not the rule. But I think that's where his game is evolving. Just like with Jordan. Jordan's game evolved as he got older, and that's why his career lasted so long. And that's why I'm so impressed with LeBron James now as a Laker versus earlier in his career, where he was basically doing it all physically inside the paint, just as you said, Nate. Now he's spreading the ball around. He's really being more of a point player. I won't say point forward, point guard, point whatever, just a point player for the team, and he's making the team better. He's drawing the triple team and distributing the ball to, as you said, the right player. Wouldn't you guys agree?
The only thing I agree with is that you got a bestiality feel in your background right there, the way LeBron's looking at that goat. He's giving the fuck me eyes or something.
Love it. Okay, so just kind of we got a comment here on Twitter, and somebody said Datnigu Papu. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong here. I'm butchering it. Trying to get better at my soccer names and everything, but they would love to see. He says would love to see LeBron playing for a couple more years. Doesn't see him passing up on it, and you know what? I kind of agree with that. We got kind of another comment too, just saying respect LeBron. This one's for Kobe. And I will agree with that. Also, you can't really see it because I set my camera level too high, but I got a nice little Kobe little sticker there in tribute.
Well, you got nothing but respect for Kobe, right?
So what do you guys feel about like LeBron bringing this one back to LA for Kobe?
I think this championship. Remember last year, LeBron was on the Lakers. The Lakers didn't even make the playoffs. He needed Anthony Davis on this team to win a championship. So you can talk about how great LeBron is and all this stuff. LeBron moved out to LA because he has other ventures outside of basketball he wants to do, he wants to complete, which he's entitled to. But this championship does not happen without Anthony Davis. Nate, what do you got?
Yeah, no, I agree. Same thing. I mean, if you remember the year before that, the same people like Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram wouldn't even sit next to LeBron on the bench because he was such a poor teammate. And that he was trying to move these guys out of town. He got his wish. He got his top 5 player on the team. He got his wingman to win the championship. So yeah, I mean, I think LeBron's the ultimate front runner. If you remember, if he went to Miami, he did that the front run, and he went to LA because he knew that was going to be a prime spot for a free agent. So it's different. I'm sorry.
And that's the thing. It is different. It's really hard to compare. But when you think about it, Tom, I mean, Jordan knew nothing until he got Pippen. So,
that is true.
Okay, he needed AD. All right. Yeah.
Also,
I agree.
Look at how many Hall of Famers do not have rings because of Michael Jordan. You got John Stockton, Karl Malone, Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, Hakeem Olajuwon won his 2 championships when Jordan was out playing baseball. Pretty much every Hall of Famer during LeBron's era has gotten a ring, and that's kind of something that never went. When you talk to other players in the league, they knew you could not beat Michael at his best. People in the NBA know you can beat LeBron. Man, what do you got?
Well, that's more a difference of the era. Back in Jordan's era, and actually if you include Bird and everybody like that and Magic, players got on a team and they wanted to beat you. They wanted to beat the other player. It wasn't like today where it's very fluid. Players are moving around like crazy and everything. So those types of records, I don't think they translate into the modern game.
Well, I mean, you kind of talked about the movement a bit and stuff, and the Heat coming into the series, the Heat looked like they were going to be a pretty good matchup against the LeBron and the Lakers. They had a really nice pick and roll offense that worked really good with Bam Adebayo. I mean, obviously the injuries to Bam and Grogic were detrimental to the Heat. Do you guys think that this is a maybe different series if neither of those two go down?
Yeah, it's a different series. I originally picked the Lakers to win in 7 games. I mean, it's definitely a more competitive series. I mean, because you break down the way the Heat are built, they're brawlers, man. They play tough defense. They play a nice pick and roll game, hit from the outside. They're completely opposite the way the Lakers are built. The Lakers are a 2-man team, and basically they have a bunch of scrubs the rest of the way. The Heat are a well-built team through and through.
Hey, Tom, go ahead. I was seeing you vibrating, ready to go on. Go ahead.
I think one of the points you need to bring up is Eric Spoelstra.
I'm going to touch on Spoelstra after, so let's just go on the players right now, and then we'll get to Spoelstra after because he's
just one name we really haven't talked about. You mentioned about Dragic getting hurt and Bam getting hurt. Jimmy Butler had a monster performance in Game 5. He kind of came out, and when you look at Jimmy Butler's career story, is the player you want to get behind, where he wasn't recruited out of high school. He went to JUCO for 2 years, went to Marquette. He found his role. He bounced around. Apparently he wasn't good enough for the Philadelphia 76ers. Oh, well, we'll see how he did, and you can kind of say Jimmy Butler led a team to 2 wins away from an NBA championship. So that's kind of something to look at too. And he went toe to toe with LeBron. If Jimmy Butler got a little more help, who knows what would have happened. Van, what do you got?
Well, Jimmy Butler, or as I like to refer to him, LeBron's future teammate and Laker. Yeah, I'm just saying. Wow. What an evolution by this young man, because only the best elevate their game at the top. When you're out there and it's Game 5, Game 6, whatever, and you can elevate your game like that, then yes, you are one of the best.
So, you kind of touched on it a little bit there, and it just Jimmy Butler and his evolution as a player, he kind of has moved from team to team. He's always been kind of the second or third player. And now, he moved to Miami. He was the number 1 guy, and he really took it upon himself to kind of show where he could go in his next level, defending Anthony Davis one-on-one in some of the early games. I haven't really checked on all of the final stats, like the advanced stats for minutes and stuff wise, but there was an interesting note brought on by the broadcast that we have up here in the Great White North of Canada. So he had in the last 3 games or something was 70 of 72 minutes on the court. I kind of mentioned it with my roommate, and this is where I kind of want to bring back into the Eric Spoelstra talk. So, I was saying, I was like, man, they're missing free throws and all of their shots are short. What does that mean? And he's a basketball player, and he's like, man, they're tired. They got no legs. So, I mean, I didn't really like Eric Spoelstra's, rotation of his players. I thought that he could have done a better job of maybe bringing Kelly and Olynyk in earlier in the game, maybe in the second half. Tom, I'm going to throw it to you right away first because you seem pretty fired up to talk about Eric Spoelstra. So
I think Spoelstra is a very underrated coach, to say the least. LeBron, he went back to Cleveland. A lot of people thought the Heat were dead and gone, but he brought them back into contention. You got to give Pat Riley credit. I think one of the credits to Spoelstra is he survived LeBron James. Very few coaches can say that. And he went through. The Heat were an underdog against the Celtics. They were able to upset the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. I do think, though, if you're Eric Spoelstra, Jimmy Butler is your best player, and you want him out there as many times as possible, especially with Dragic hurt and Bam hurt. Well, maybe if he got a number 2, he could maybe spare him a few minutes. But it's like, know what? You made $20 off a cup of coffee this whole time, Jimmy Butler. You're going to work for your money now. We need you out there. And he did it in Game 5, but unfortunately he couldn't do it in Game 6. Van, I saw your hand up. What do you got to add?
Yeah, just real quick, if anybody wants to make a comment about it. I thought in Jimmy Butler's game, looking at it, not only, of course, with the ball in his hand, what can you say? His game without the ball in his hand, I thought it really elevated, right now. His game away from the ball, I thought really stepped him apart from how he's played earlier.
Well, it's interesting because I hate this cliche. I think it's one of the most cliche things you could say in sports is that basically that the team took over his personality. I hate it when they say shit like that because it's so not true most of the time. In this situation, I think the Miami Heat took the identity of Jimmy Butler behind him. So, fuck you laughing at, Van.
No, he's laughing because you actually are 100% right on this, and he's laughing about anything else. Then, yeah, we got a thorn between two goats there. So, no, I agree with that. He definitely elevated the play of his teammates around him. So, we kind of talked about the one coach in Miami. So let's talk about Frank Vogel for LA Lakers. How did you guys think that he did? And, let's kind of switch it around. Nate, start it up. What do you think of Frank Vogel's coaching strategy and just kind of how he managed everything in the playoffs?
Yeah, play LeBron, play AD, the rest is all good. I have a bunch of scrubs the rest of the way, I got carried here the entire way. So, seriously, answer me this. Do you think I could have coached Los Angeles Lakers to a victory in the NBA Finals? Probably.
Well, you would have got a lot of technicals, though.
Yeah.
So you got to think about that, right? You got to think about all the T's that you're going to be getting for your foul language.
No, not when I got LeBron and AD on my team. Seriously, like that goat in the background could have coached LeBron to an NBA championship.
That's actually his personal trainer.
Yeah, right.
Seriously, real quick, Nate. Can you do this? Sure, LeBron, whatever you want. Just say that one time.
I will never say that.
Well, if you could, then you could not have coached them.
Then you wouldn't have coached them in the championship.
I'd be the first guy to stand up to LeBron James. How about that? I'm not going to be some Tyronn Lue. I'd say give the ball to AD. How about that?
Then what happened to other coaches that did that? They were not with him in the finals because they got fired earlier in the season.
Yeah.
Okay?
Hey, Tom, finish it up about what you thought about Frank Vogel. What did you think about his coaching style and his strategy?
I think, though, I always feel when you're coaching LeBron might as well be the owner because he runs the franchise. And he's the one who's going to come in and make all the decisions. If he's not happy, you're going to listen. If LeBron is not happy, the NBA is going to listen. Because we heard about this little memo that went out, and it basically stated how the Lakers complained how there weren't enough foul calls against LeBron. So that's kind of something else to take into consideration.
Well, we're getting some feedback here from somebody.
We're getting some feedback from somebody. So everybody turn off your devices. And speaking of devices, okay. So before we go forward, I just want to thank you guys all for joining the Sports Talk Line Network, where we talk sports 24/7, 365. We're going to keep this. I don't know. We got Tom, who's in the East Coast there, so I don't know how long he's got, but I got a long time. So if you guys want to keep the chat going and keep things coming, bring on the questions for us. I'm going to pose up another topic here, and maybe we can get what you guys think on YouTube and stuff, because I got my phone, so I'm seeing everything you comment. So feel free to comment along, join along with us. So, Tom, what did you think about the choice to make LeBron James the Finals MVP? Because I definitely thought that it should have gone to AD.
I definitely think, I believe the media votes on it. You got to wonder if I believe this would be LeBron's fourth Finals MVP. So you got to wonder if that played a factor in it. I think Anthony Davis would have been deserving. I think he's a big man who dominates the paint that very rarely you see nowadays. He hit a big shot. What was it? Was that the Western Conference Finals?
Yeah, it was game 5 or 6 or something.
Yeah,
like that.
So
he hit a big one in this one too, in this series too.
Yeah, so he's the one who hit the game winners, not LeBron. So I think that's something that should be noted. I think Davis would definitely have been deserving. If went to Kyle Kuzma or J.R. Smith, I think we all would have been scratching our heads. But does LeBron deserve it? Maybe. Does Davis deserve it more? I think so. Nate, how do you feel about the Finals MVP saga?
I think the lifeblood of the Lakers, no matter how you slice it, goes through LeBron. I mean, if LeBron is the most valuable player to the Los Angeles Lakers, just look at the numbers without him on the floor, and you know who the most valuable player for the Lakers is. So I have zero problem with the MVP going to LeBron. Dan, what?
Dan.
What he said.
Really? I mean,
Yeah.
you're almost.
I can repackage it real quick for you, but it's going to come out sounding pretty much the same. Okay.
But you're almost just giving it to LeBron just for the sake of. I know he's getting like ridiculous. Okay, you're like, what do we got in this game?
Well, no,
another triple.
I went through the
28, 14,
conversation.
and 10.
Hold on, before you pass it back. I went through the conversation in my head. I really did. I asked myself, and when you look at AD, they would not have been at this point without AD. Okay, boom, because he got him there. But just like Nate said, he drives it. Tom.
I was going to say this. Who would be fired if LeBron did not win the Finals MVP? Because he seems to be like the superior Dark Lord of the NBA, who, he always gets his way.
I would not want to be the peanut vendor that pissed him off.
Yeah, exactly. And there was a part of me where leading up to this whole NBA restart, if the Clippers met the Lakers, Kawhi beat him he beat him twice in the finals, once in San Antonio, once in Toronto, and if Ray Allen doesn't hit that three, Kawhi could have beat him for a third time. I was kind of looking forward to, if the Lakers lose, we're about like 10 seconds away from losing the game, would LeBron just start automatically firing people and front office people? Will they all be like hitting the showers? I was kind of living for that, because it's just with LeBron James. He's the greatest basketball player of his generation.
Yes.
But
I don't think anybody argues that, do we?
No.
But I think there's something about like how he goes about it where it's, kind of irks me.
Oh, look, you're just upset he's not a Yankee. If he was a Yankee, it would be okay.
We're not talking baseball. We're talking basketball, boys.
We're talking Brian Scalabrine the White Mamba would wipe the floor with LeBron James. Just saying.
That was Caruso. The White Mamba was Caruso apparently this series. So before I just want to get am I in the complete minority here that it was 3-1? You guys all thought that LeBron deserved MVP?
Yeah, I thought LeBron deserved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of, it could have been close. You can make an argument for Davis, but, LeBron got it, so.
Okay, so shout out to one of our YouTube followers here that's commenting in. He says, well, you said AD should have got MVP. Check the stats first. Yes, you are right. I am the only dumb one, Lee Kang. So my three colleagues absolutely agree with you on this one. So thanks for commenting in on that stuff. So I'm the only dumb one on that. So
okay, Luke Kang, props. Okay, yeah.
So he knows what he's talking about with you three. So maybe we'll get him on hosting my own show.
Well, Josh, what they say is that 9 out of 10 dentists agree that 1 out of 10 dentists don't know what the hell they're talking about. So it's the same thing on this show, okay?
That's true.
Fake it till you make it, baby.
Exactly. So where do you guys want to bring it? Do you want to like, kind of talk about like second pieces for the Lakers? You guys want to talk about Rondo, Danny Green? Tom, I'll fire it over to you. You look like you got something to talk about.
I mean, this is going a little bit, maybe a little forward, but let's start talking about the 2021 NBA season.
I was going to say. Okay,
because, all right, let's look at it. Golden State, their whole team was injured. They're coming back from injury, and what did they get? The number 1 draft pick. You got in Brooklyn, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant coming back from injury. So New York is going to have a good basketball team playing in Brooklyn, and it's not Lincoln High School. So those are kind of some things to look forward to, because I think even if Anthony Davis returns, the Lakers are going to have a battle going forward just to get out of the West. Doc Rivers got fired from the Clippers. You got to see how that new coach will impact it. So there are definitely a lot of things to look forward to in 2021. Vin, what do you got to chime in?
Well, exactly. Looking towards next season, I'm just curious because not only for next season, but how big of an impact did Dwight Howard have in this season? I mean, he's another cog in the wheel that without him, would they have got this far? I don't think so. And does he fit into future plans? I mean, I really look at him almost as and I'm using this in a sense that it's not like a part of the puzzle that is out here in the scoring realm, but what Dennis Rodman brought to 2 different teams, Dwight Howard brought to the Lakers right now. Would you guys agree with that?
I think he was a decent replacement for Anthony Davis. I'm kind of glad, when Dwight Howard was in Orlando, he was probably the top center in the league. He made it to an NBA Finals where I believe he lost to Kobe Bryant and the Lakers. So that was kind of something to reflect on, and he did get that championship. But Nate, how do you think? Do you think Dwight Howard was as valuable as Van thinks for the Lakers?
Well, let's put it this way. Dwight Howard he hasn't been the same player since he was in Orlando. So, I mean, to go back to your previous point, I think the Lakers got a long road to hoe in the future, because they weren't even arguably the best team in the West this past season, because they didn't even get that dream matchup that the NBA was dying for, the Battle of Los Angeles earlier this season. And you got Steph Curry coming back this year. You have
Klay Thompson
coming back, and they're going to have another top draft choice coming their way. They're going to be battling with the Clippers once again. So, and
yeah, but it's
not enough depth. There's not enough depth with the Lakers.
It's the Clippers, though. I mean,
I don't know. I mean, we fast forwarded ahead. I didn't think we were going to be jumping into next season here. I would have got my stats ready for next season and stuff here. I mean, you guys got to give me some warning here, especially when we just jump in free and do a live show. But I absolutely love it. So, thanking everybody for joining us right now. And also just shout out to our producer, Lee, who's doing a lot of the behind the scenes work and, talking in and responding to some of you guys on Twitter and stuff like that. So as for me, for next year, where am I from, guys?
Oh, Canada.
Oh, Canada.
So who do I think is going to take it next year? We the North, baby. I think Giannis
LA,
is coming.
man. LA, right?
No, Giannis. I think that
Boston.
Hey,
And
you're from
where's the
Vancouver,
hold
just
on?
saying.
Oh, damn it! You guys are lucky that I ceded control of the Zoom over to
The
Lee, so I can't,
Vancouver
like,
Dolphins.
Yeah,
remove
right.
so I can't remove you guys from the chat. But no, Toronto, I think is going to be coming on strong. Kendrick Perkins kind of unleashed a little bit of a tidbit on the Tim and Chid show a couple days ago that Giannis has been looking at Toronto as an option, been talking with Masai Ujiri, and man, that could be pretty deadly. So that's my pick, obviously, for 2021, but I would lose my Canadian citizenship if I didn't pick the Raptors. So Van, go ahead, man.
Well, I just real quick, I just wanted to say, when we start having guests on the show from the fans, I want to get Lou on the show because he's been awesome. He's agreed with everything I've said. So he's obviously
Lou
very, very intelligent.
Lou has been throwing some fire here. He's battling, like I said, so that's why I was showing out to our producer here because he's going back and forth. They're going back and forth and on the YouTube channel here, which is fantastic.
I love him, man. I want this guy on the show. Okay.
Lou, if we're pronouncing your name wrong at all, let us know too.
Oh
right?
yeah, please. Yes.
We'd love to make sure we get it right and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, he's saying here Giannis is going to the Lakers, and I don't know where they're going to find the money for that.
Oh, wow.
That's a great thought, and it would be fantastic.
This guy hasn't called one thing wrong tonight, so I know.
I'm gonna start.
How am I going to argue with it? How am I going to argue with it?
Tom will like this reference right here. The Lakers are like the NWO and WCW. It's just like where all the bad guys go. It's like when they lose complete control of their soul, they just go NWO, and they join the Lakers. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
They used to call that the Raiders, didn't they?
I guess so, but it's also I feel like LeBron is the NWO, where it's like you need to pair. Well, I think Golden State had that montage when Kevin Durant joined a few years ago in free agency, and you got to remember if they're talking about starting in December, this is going to be a 2-month off season, so free agency is going to happen quick.
It's going to be. We're seeing it kind of fast in NHL. We're kind of getting a blueprint of how it's going to work forward. And it was literally like we had the draft on the Tuesday and free agency started on Friday yesterday here, or depending on when you're watching, could be a couple days ago on the 10th. But it's going to be really fast and furious as the NBA moves forward into next year with all of their plans and, just kind of how they're going to do it. Obviously, they wanted a Christmas start date because Christmas is a huge time for the NBA. I'm sure lots of people know that. That's their marquee day, all the big day, the games, they're on that day. So they were kind of looking, but I mean, if we're looking at I can't see December 25th being a start date for the NBA. Van, what do you're kind of old. So what do you think of sorry,
Tired.
Hold on.
Grandpa, where's your water?
How do you think they're going to make
it? Had to put my teeth in.
How do you think they're going to go about the schedule this next year?
Well, I just want to talk about the GOAT here, and then, but the schedule next year is going to be driven by one thing and one thing only. It's never really changed. It's called money.
Money. Yes.
They want to start early and they want to go late. They want to get all the games in. So they're going to start as soon as they can. And they've been working and they've been getting testing going. The NBA partnered with the company just to get testing going and stuff. So they're ahead of all the other leagues.
You sounded like a B-list actor from the 1940s with that accent.
Oh my goodness. Oh, sorry.
That's why Charlie Chaplin.
I was sitting on something. Actually, I'm okay.
I thought it was pretty good.
I'm okay now.
I don't know. I'm gonna go to my email tomorrow morning. I'm gonna get a pink slip. I'm gonna wonder why I called the boss old. So
older than you.
Hold on, let's move it around while I still have a show. So Tom, do you think they're gonna get things started on the 25th or what do you think's a realistic timeline for the NBA?
I can see them too because how many teams are still active? They had X amount of months off. I think another factor is, will fans be allowed in? I think that's something else to drive in, and that needs to be talked about. A 2-month off season, it'll probably be a month. They need free agency, but the TV money, that's what they want. When they had the lockout before, let's start on Christmas. That's the NBA's go-to day. So I think that's definitely the target. Also, I think Adam Silver and Chris Paul do have a very good working relationship, unlike the other professional leagues.
Yes.
So you got to give credit to Adam Silver and Chris Paul for getting this playoff done. I think most players are already home. So I think it's going to be where are there going to be bubbles? Are people going to travel? So I think those are some questions that need to be figured out first. I think if the owners have their way, they're starting December 25th. If the players have their way, I think it might take a little bit longer. They might want fewer games and more rest days and you got to see how international travel goes at this time.
Yeah, I think Silver's too much of a player's guy to really buckle down and get the season going too fast. I really can't see any season starting in 2020. I think considering the fact that they need an off season and they have to get the draft, they have to get rookies in shape and into play, I think it's just asking for way too much. And I think Silver just buckles way too much to the players to be able to be demanding enough to get it done in 2020.
Guys, I got to agree with all of you. And in agreeing with you, I have to disagree with you because you're absolutely right. The relationship between Silver and Paul is excellent. I wasn't joking about what I was talking about earlier in my pseudo old man voice. They got together with, and I wish I could remember the college. It's like, oh man, it's respected and invested a lot of money together working on a test that can be given at the gate to say, yes, no, do you have COVID? And supposedly it's getting very close with this. It's a saliva test. And so they do want, and when you're talking about they won't push the players, you forget, everybody hears all the money that players make, and they make a lot. But the majority of the NBA is made up of players that need to play games to get paid, and they want to play. Yeah, Tom?
I think one, it's the rank and file will push for it, but also I think it's going to be local governments that are going to end up deciding when players can come in. I think the last place that's going to open up will be New York. So that means you have two franchises, the Knicks, if you call them a franchise, and the Brooklyn Nets.
We're not letting you guys in.
Toronto, where are you going to go? You're going to have to be playing in Buffalo.
Yeah,
all right, you're going to have to do what the Blue Jays do. You're going to have to go to the University of Buffalo, where the ghost of Bobby Hurley's still there. So those are kind of certain things you need to look at. So I think it's going to be a lot of work to see. I think there'll definitely be an NBA season. But remember, it's a lot easier to continue a season during this lockdown than it is to start one.
And it's also going to be fluid, guys. I mean, it's all going to be COVID.
And he disappeared.
It all depends on how the U.S. handles the COVID thing. And so far, the U.S. hasn't handled it that well. So hopefully the NBA can keep handling it fairly well.
So one of the things in regards to this and in regards to next season that I'm going to be really curious to see is just because we're getting blueprints all over different sports leagues, right? We're seeing what the MLB is doing with things, playing games in different markets. We're seeing what the NFL is doing, and they've all gone through problems. And they're all getting, new problems are arising as things go on. And I really think that it's going to be something that the NBA kind of just waits because they're a really progressive league. And they're normally the ones that are doing things at a forefront. And I think we could see them wait a little bit longer because, we obviously, Van, you threw it out there. It's money. It's all about money. We know it. We know what it's about. But the TV deal's in place for them regardless of when they want to do it. So if they're looking at kind of like a 3-year plan, the NHL, for example, looked at it almost like a 3-year plan, what they're doing. So if the NBA is going to do something similar to that, then I can't imagine that we're getting games until at least, the middle of January. And I could possibly see bubble situations as well because the NBA is smart and they have a lot of money, and a lot of the money is through their TV deal, like the NFL. They can get away with it if they really want to.
Yeah, and the thing about the bubble is, it's, as Tom brought up, it's much easier to continue a season than it is to start one. I mean, what are these guys going to do for 82 games with all the freaks that they want to bring over to their place? I mean,
and the chicken wings.
What's that?
Hey, what about Summer League? What do they do with Summer League, man? I know.
The G League. Is that still what it's called?
Well, they had the Summer League and D League, actually. Those
they rebranded the G League for the Gatorade League. But yeah, that'll be curious to see where they're going to go and where they're going to be and where they're going to be getting their players from. So, geez, and that's what's great about Sports Talkline here is we're going to have you covered for the entire offseason, regardless if it's, 6-7 weeks, regardless if it's 3 months. Okay, so we're going to have you covered. We're still going to have lots of great shows, all that stuff. So make sure you stay tuned for lots of that. So Van, go ahead. You got another topic you want to talk about? because I got lots of time.
I
Like I
just wanted
said,
to mention, if I don't know if anybody here noticed, but the Lakers are world champions right now.
so who he? Do you not live in LA?
Yeah, so I'm a contrarian by nature. I have a soul.
Okay, so what's your NBA team?
Mavericks.
Okay, that's not a bad. I was getting ready to rip you for some reason because I just figured it was gonna be like a really shitty team like the Dallas Cowboys. But the
You can
Mavericks,
still rip
that's
it.
a,
It's okay. It's okay.
but that's it. No, I can't rip the Dallas Mavericks. I really like that choice. So, okay, no, and
Yeah, we got Luka Doncic, the future of the league when LeBron leaves.
the future of the league. So just everybody, everybody on YouTube, if you're following, make sure to write down all of our favorite teams. So if you want to get in our good books, you can be like, hey, Josh, like, you want to talk about the Raptors a bit? And I can be like, hey, yeah. And then also don't talk to Nate about the Lakers. Tom, I'm going to go out on a limb and say your favorite team's the New York Knicks. Are you switching to Brooklyn?
Come on, admit it.
Are you
Tom.
moving to Brooklyn?
Admit it.
I'll tell you this: if Brooklyn is a lot closer to winning an NBA championship than the Knicks are, which is kind of like saying that the Dallas Cowboys are going to win a championship.
That's not what we asked you, Mr. Trump.
And
Okay.
But I think that is something too where, if Brooklyn wins a championship, how will the New York fans react?
Okay, let me ask you this, Tom. If a certain owner died tomorrow and the Knicks were taken over by a new owner, let's say a former player that really cared about the team and knew what the hell he was doing, then what would your favorite team be?
It'd probably still be, I mean, the issue with the Knicks is ownership. I mean, it goes without saying. They always bring in these people who do great before the Knicks, are terrible with the Knicks. They leave the Knicks, they go somewhere else, and all of a sudden they're great again. So you definitely got to. So I think everyone knows who the issue is.
I mean, when you can make Carmelo
That's what we're
Anthony
asking.
when you can make Carmelo Anthony look good.
In all honesty, growing up, I was a front runner. I was a Chicago Bulls fan. I try to switch over to be a Knicks fan, but their season is usually over before it ends. Their season is usually over by January.
So did anybody hear him deny it? I didn't. Okay. So closet Knicks fan is the way it is.
Okay.
Right.
So guys, shout out to Pennywise. We got another obviously we got some smart YouTube followers here. We got some really smart people joining us. Pennywise has seen Toronto 2021 for champs. So Pennywise, I 100% agree.
Pennywise has access to the good stash.
Luke Kang had to get through a couple laughs there, so that's good to see. We got a lot of interaction. I like that. I like when you guys interact with us and stuff. So it makes the show a lot much more fun with us. We can see what you guys where you want to bring the topics and stuff.
I would just love to see Toronto make a run like that. I mean, I love when the Minnesota Twins win the World Series. I would love to see Toronto make a run and win an NBA championship. That would be awesome for basketball. That would be awesome for basketball.
That
happened last year, Van.
It was fantastic. It was fantastic, Van. You missed it. But yeah, no, shout out to the Los Angeles Lakers. That's so cool. It's a great storyline for the NBA too.
Sarcasm is dead. People just don't get me. I don't understand it.
I think.
All right, guys. So does this make the Lakers the best franchise of all time?
Well, this didn't.
I think they were before.
They were already. They were already.
They tied the Celtics for the most championships. So, what do you got to say?
I think they're definitely the most glamorous. The reason why is like the Celtics had this great run from about the 1960s to when Larry Bird retired. And then, they won that one championship in 2007. But I think the Lakers, when you look at it, they've had pretty much dynasties. They won a few championships when the NBA started. And then it reached a whole new gear when the Lakers won. I think they won in 72. And then when Magic Johnson came, all right, that's great. And then Shaq and Kobe in the 2000s, and they keep on reinventing themselves, and they've had different people carry the mantle. While the Celtics, they had a golden era, but they never really are always coming back like a lot of people, like the Lakers are. Van, what do you got?
Well, when you talk about who's the GOAT, everybody goes to the rings. Everybody goes to the rings. Jordan's got the 6, and now other players have 6. But if you're going to talk about rings, let me help you out. Bill Russell, 11. Sam Jones, 10. John Havlicek, 8. Tom Heinlein, 8. Casey Jones, 8. Tom Sanders, 8. And let me help you out. Most of the people listening have no idea who Tom Sanders or Tom Heinlein are. Let me help you out. They're Celtics. That is the greatest organization in NBA sports history. Boom. Done. I'm a Lakers fan, but my best wish for the next season is for whatever it takes to happen for a Lakers Celtics finals, because that's the best basketball in the history of the NBA.
So it was
the
obviously
Celtics were really good before blacks can play.
I did start with Bill Russell, didn't I?
We're gonna have to cut that one out.
I was going to say
but-
Bill Russell, 11. 11. Okay.
No, I was gonna say, I lost my train of thought now, which is hilarious.
Bill Russell,
that
11
doesn't
will do that
surprise
to
me.
you. Okay.
No,
That wasn't inches. That was championship rings.
do you think that? No, I was gonna say that the Boston Celtics is taking a turn for the worse. The Boston Celtics kind of did their damage kind of in a refined period where they were just that good and they were that good of a team. You mentioned those players; they were all on the same franchise of team. Whereas you look at the Lakers franchise, right? They're at the 12th NBA championship, starting off in obviously the regular NBA era, 1972, ending now with 2020. So
I just freaked out that Robert Horry has 7 rings. Is that just awesome or what?
Now, is that because Robert Horry was that good, or was he in the right? I mean, he did hit some
Because he
big
was
shots.
clutch, man. He was
did hit some
clutch.
big shots.
He was a poor man's Jerry West right there.
You can't even put those guys in the same
E3.
conversation.
I just did.
Robert Horry was, and it's like Van was saying, there's so many players that just have these rings. So if you're gonna put it on rings, so let's switch it over. Let's do a little bit of. I know that people want it. They're throwing it out there. Somebody's told Van that they need to remove the LeBron picture and put a Michael Jordan picture beside the GOAT. So let's do a quick little. Let's have a little GOAT conversation. So I'm not going to go first because I've already been outweighed 3-1. Not that you guys are going to sway my opinion on this at all, but I'm going to throw it to you first, Nate. Who do you think? Who is your GOAT? LeBron James just won his 4th NBA championship. He's been to 10 NBA finals. This is what his 3rd NBA finals MVP. Who do you think is the GOAT?
I think
Who's
it's
your
Michael
GOAT?
Jordan. If you want to consider the grand scheme of things, what he did for the actual league, he globalized basketball. And for the reason for it, I mean, that's what makes him the GOAT to me. I mean, what he did on the court, not only was that speaks for itself, but what he did to globalize the league. I mean, he made the entire league a global organization. So that makes him the GOAT to me.
Hey, Tom, what do you think?
I agree with Nate. I got to go with Jordan. He was just someone in his prime. Everyone in the league knew that you could not beat him, which is something I think no player in any sport has been able to get. LeBron formed a super team, and he only won a championship 2 out of those 4 years. If it wasn't for Ray Allen, he would have only won 1.
I want to bring up 2 of LeBron's championships have come on shortened seasons. One came on in a lockout year, and this one on a COVID year, which had a regular season shortened briefly. I don't know if does that to you guys diminish the other 2 rings?
No, this one, if anything, this one gets even more props and praise from me because of the bubble situation.
I would still count it. A ring is a ring. Every player is going through the same type of circumstance. Van, how do you feel?
Well, I'm a great Jordan fan and would never denigrate anything anybody says about him because I probably agree with him. In the same breath, I hold Larry Bird, Well, in the same breath, but behind. I mean, Jordan outshines Birdie, outshines Magic Johnson. I think without a doubt that he is a player unto his own. However, a player who I think did just as much in changing the game and showed things such as the longevity and the mental toughness, and made people change their game to do something about him, and also showed versatility, flexibility, and did not let the outside world mess with him. Mr. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I consider him the greatest of all time.
And where did Kareem Abdul-Jabbar play? Where did he grow up?
Oklahoma, baby.
Power Memorial. When he was Blue House.
However, he was,
He was a New York guy.
Absolutely. And was at that time, I believe, one of the largest babies ever born in New York or something like that. He set a record for that, I do believe.
Yeah, he was a big boy, to say the least. And he was someone who...
Yeah, his mother's first words were, whew.
The fun facts you can only get on Sports Talk Line Network.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, he was a huge baby, I understand. So
Josh, what do you think? Who's the GOAT?
I'll give you my take here in a second. Here, just want to read one of the comments here from one of our YouTube guys, and what was it? Lou kind of agreed with me, and that's why I'm reading it. So he said this was probably the hardest championship ever in any sport, and I'm kind of going to agree with that. You know, we'll go even model with the NHL bubble as well, because those NHL players had to do the same thing. But guys, Van, I love the off the wall pick with Kareem. But yeah, no, for me again, it's Michael, and I don't know if it's, going back, kind of maybe dating myself, but growing up as a sports fan and as a young kid, just watching that, and then getting to more learn about everything else that went involved in it. Like, Nate, you brought up a really good point about him just globalizing the game so much, and I think LeBron's done a great job about that as well. But I think that Michael Jordan kind of did that first off.
Dream team.
Yeah, and I think that, well, and then just in everything he did, I mean, we kind of got it, maybe recency bias, but I mean, LeBron James just won an NBA championship, so you can't get more recent than that. But, we kind of got an inside look at what what Michael Jordan actually, did outside of his game and how he made it such a mental craft. And I think that, I don't know. I mean, LeBron could win 3-4 more championships. He's never going to be as good as Michael Jordan. We've already unanimously agreed on this, that LeBron James is the best athlete right now going, or NBA athlete or NBA player of our generation. I don't know.
Let me ask you guys this, though. Let's say if they switched it around, and let's say LeBron was the first guy that won 6 rings. Would you feel differently if a guy came afterward in Jordan?
That's a great point, right? That's a great point, because I think that might be, for me, maybe it's not a recency. Like it's an unrecency bias. So like, well, you've already set a standard. So, really what can LeBron do to beat that standard for me? Because I mean, he's already 4 and 6, but there's still 4 and 6 in finals. How many more are you going to get to? I mean, Tom's getting sleepy because he's, Tom is over. It's 11 a.m. or 11 p.m. on the East Coast. Tom, it's only 8 for us, so he's getting a little bit sleepy. So we'll probably have to wrap this up.
I'm getting comfy. I got my blanket going.
I know I can see that, but Tom will switch over to you.
I think with LeBron,
I'm going to go watch the fireworks.
All right, make sure you duck and cover, Van. But I think when you look at it too, some people are like, oh, look at, LeBron made it to the finals with this type of talent, which, okay, you can make arguments there. But it's also, I think with him, I really think the big three was started by the Celtics in 2008 when they got Paul Pierce and they had Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen. So they kind of laid that framework.
Yeah.
LeBron, remember, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and LeBron were all free agents that summer. Chris Bosh said he was going to go to Miami before, and then LeBron joins them. I think the press conference, the announcement kind of pushed people a different way. And I think a lot of people were, LeBron should have won more championships when he was with Miami. If LeBron went 4 for 4 when he was with Miami, I think that would greatly give the GOAT argument for him, but he didn't.
Right. And the way I look at it is he had the superior teams all 4 of those years. He should have won all 4 years, and he didn't.
So a light bulb just came up in the back of my head here. If Van voted his GOAT as Kareem, why does he have a picture of LeBron and a GOAT?
Well, it says Lakers on there, and he has a 3 and a 3 on his shirt.
True. And you know what? To be fair, we actually dived into. I don't know. I think we maybe planned.
I got asked at the last moment to dive in here. It was a quick reaction, and this is what I could come up with quickly. I didn't know you'd be asking that question. And actually, what you don't realize is that's a modern GOAT.
That's a Rams. That's an LA Rams GOAT right there.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. So that's not the greatest of all time. It's the greatest modern of all time is what that is. You can't see it because my head's in the way. That GOAT actually has earrings. So
and he did, yeah, like you said, they just won the NBA championship. So if you missed it, the Los Angeles Lakers won the NBA championship. LeBron James, NBA Finals MVP. We've just been kind of breaking down the whole series and everything what we thought about NBA for the last, I don't know, getting close to an hour here, eh, guys?
Over an hour.
What did I think? What I plan to go like 15, 20 minutes when first
say
part.
Good night,
So
Dick.
loving to see that. So what do you got going?
I got going on why the Lakers didn't deserve a championship, one, and why there's a debate going on between NBA Twitter and MMA Twitter. Who would win in a fight, Kobe Covington or LeBron James? I got that answer for you.
That's so fantastic. Okay, I'm actually really I know, and you know what? I know the funny thing is I know you're not joking, and I know you'll spend probably 15 to 20 minutes breaking down who would win in a fight between LeBron James and Kobe Covington. So make sure to follow Nate at No Remorse Sports. You can see it down under his name there. He's on Twitter, and he's a great follow. Tons of fun stuff, MMA, NFL football, and pretty much just all sports. So Tom, what do you got going on right now, and where can people find you?
All right, so you can find me on Twitter at defends_com. It looks like next month we're going to be starting a new college basketball show. We're going to focus on battle for the Big East.
Let's go.
So that's what we're going to talk about. The conference that everyone talks trash about, even though they got a few national championships the last few years. It has a deep, rich history. A lot of Hall of Famers have gone through there, and maybe some future Hall of Famers are in the conference as we speak.
That is fantastic. Oh, I'm excited to hear that. I love me some college basketball. I'm getting excited for it to get going again. And I'm glad we're going to have a lot more coverage coming from you for Sports Talk Line for the NCAA. So, Van, I know that this is your season right now. This is your basically months and months of Christmas for you for the NFL season. You got your Dallas Cowboys. They were able to pull off a great victory tonight.
I got you to say Dallas Cowboys.
God damn it.
No, so
I know, and I always vow,
we're out of here. Okay.
I always vow not to talk about it on my show, and I swear I always do when I'm trying to trash it. But so, Van, what are you working on? Where can everybody find you?
Okay, real quick, at Stephen Vanover on Twitter. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Josh. It's always a pleasure being on your show. I really do appreciate it. We're doing the NFC East show on Tuesdays. Yeah, you can see that, I believe. And then on Fridays, you can see the New York Giants Weekly with myself and Mr. Tom McAllister, and the Dallas Cowboys Weekly with myself and Mr. at No Remorse Sports, Nate Dowdy. And again, Tom, thanks a lot. And did I mention that Lakers are world champions?
So the Lakers are world champions. They've taken over for the Toronto Raptors, who were last season's world champions. I mean, lasted a little bit longer than normal, but whatever.
Nobody gets me. Nobody gets me with the Raptors. I thought that was good. I thought,
guys, I want to thank all three of you for joining me here this evening to break down the NBA Finals. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I mean, I'm actually seeing highlights from this. Oh, the Seattle Minnesota game is still going on. Jeez. Okay. Well, yeah, thanks for joining me. And thank you for everyone else on YouTube that joined us tonight and interacted along and talked with the show. That's kind of what we want to do a lot more with our live shows. So, make sure to tune in comment away. We're going to comment back. We're going to chat with you guys. Okay. You know, and like I said, hit that big blue button at the bottom, join, subscribe, get those extra perks. You know, you can join us on our shows. You can join us in the green rooms. We'll bring you into Talk Sports. And there's a lot of actual really cool videos that we have in that section, which I can't really tell you about them because you kind of need to go and check them out. But I can give you a teaser that I have about a 15-minute conversation about Filipino cuisine. That's just, it's going to be random stuff. It's going to be funny stuff. It's going to be green room stuff. It's going to be great. So thank you to everyone for joining us here on the Unnamed Sports Show, kind of NBA Finals Roundtable on the Sports Talkline Network, where we talk sports 24/7, 365. Thank you to my guest, Nate No Remorse Starty, Tom McAllister, defense_com, and Steven Vanover at Steven Vanover. So for the Sports Talkline Network and the Unnamed Sports Show, thank you very much again.